When that chute opens, all my pain, all that emptiness just goes away. Let's go! For 8 seconds, it's like all I gotta do is hold on.
Well, looky here, old John Hawkins boy. He's fresh out the joint, you know. He don't ride like Daddy did.
Hey, Doc. My sweet baby girl.
John.
Virginia's cancer is back.
That's $160,000 you'll owe.
What the hell am I supposed to do now?
I think we should start a conversation with Peter. We turned our back on him.
Yeah, in my day, the goal was to stay on.
Trying to go pro or win that cash?
Don't win that money.
Peter Hawkins is back in the
I think Dad is freaking out about money.
Champs ain't made riding. They're made in them few seconds right after they fall.
My dad, I don't want to know what he'd give up for Virginia.
We got ourselves a Texas size showdown.
I know you'd do anything for your sister, but everything is pointing to you.
Am I talking to my wife right now or to the sheriff?
You stand for everything. Family, faith, and strong American values.
Let's go!
We're not perfect, but we're trying to do what's right no matter what it takes.
No matter how hard you fight.
I don't need help raising my daughter.
Whether you make it or not, the bull always chucks you. Always.
I am a bull.
Hello, everyone. My name is Heather Hurt with the NRW, where nerds rule the world, and that was a trailer for Ride, the directorial debut for Jake Allyn, who, by the way, I do have an interview for. Make sure you are hitting subscribe, you're following all of our things, and you can check down below and see my interview with him, who also plays Peter. You know me and green screens. I can never do this right. If you follow the channel at all, you know I can't do this. This is Jake Allyn, who also plays Peter, the up-and-coming bull rider in the family. We also have C. Thomas Howell, who plays John, Annabeth Gish, who plays Monica, Forrie J. Smith, who plays Al, and a host of cast and crew, because as Kuya always says, it takes a village to make a film, even an indie one. So this is an incredibly interesting movie. I think I'm going to say that. Let's start with plot real quick, because it's kind of difficult to explain without going into too many spoilers, and I don't want to do that because the movie does arrive in select theaters and on demand on June 14th. As of today, that's 3 days away. So I don't want to, throw anything out there too far. But the first half of the film and the second half of the film kind of felt like two different movies. So let's talk about the first half. The first half really just dives into the family and what they are doing. You see some members are impacted by drug abuse. Some members are trying to take care of an ailing family member who is going through the effects of cancer and trying to get into chemo. You see some family members that are trying to bridge the gap between a broken family. And then you see others that just want to get out of a small town. And then you see, some that just happen to be the sheriff of this small town. Like it's a very interesting confluence of characters that kind of don't seem like they're doing too much together, but they're a family, and it's kind of an interesting first hour. And then the second hour is where the plot truly begins. That's when the family has to come together to get to that final support network that they truly need to be, not only for the family member, only for the ailing family member, but for themselves and each other. And it's all kind of under the blanket of this rodeo and this cowboy feeling, this concept of the cowboy, and to cowboy up, as you would say. And with that being said, let me just jump right into the review, because that's really everything when it comes to the plot that I want to give away. I'm going to say that I want to give away without going into spoilers. So with that and going right into the review, I'm going to use Jake Allyn's words to me as kind of an introduction into what to expect for this movie. He made a movie for those in the South, small towns in the South. He made a movie for those who enjoy the rodeo. He made a movie for those bull riders. He made a movie for cowboys. He made something for not necessarily a niche group of people, because it's a large community. It's a large community, but it's one that does not reflect everybody. He wanted people to see the cowboy and specifically the rodeo cowboy, the best that they can. But he really wanted those people to also see themselves in a movie. With that said, kind of ironically, I became the best person to watch this movie, to do the interview. Kuya was supposed to, but it kind of went outside of its time, so it was handed off to me. I'm the second, so that makes sense. No, I'm not saying anything about that. It's just I am from small town North Texas, actually only a few hours away from where this movie takes place, in Stephenville. And don't know. When I say a few hours, please remember that you could literally drive for 10 hours in Texas and still be in the same state and actually have more to go before you get to the border. So with that being said, I went to school in a place where we would take yearly school trips, like the entire school would go to the rodeo. We would learn this history. This is what we did in the South. It's what we do in Texas. So I found myself in a very interesting spot where I can see myself. I see my childhood in this film. As y'all, if you watch this channel at all, you know my perspectives of certain things that are Southern. But yeah, I mean, my accent just comes out when I talk about this stuff. But with that being said, I can give a perspective that my team members here at the NRW can't, but at the same time, I am not sure if this movie is for any of my team members. I enjoyed it. I found it very sweet. From a critique perspective, the plot was very segmented. Once again, the first act and the second act seemed very, very different. Honestly, for most people, I would not be surprised if they fell off after the first hour because it didn't seem to be cohesive. But the second half was very well done. You really figured out the story. Once you got to the story, it's like, oh, wow, this is actually pretty good. But most people wouldn't sit around for that. And especially when they cannot connect to the story itself. It makes it kind of hard to see, to critique that, as well as to even kind of sit through it. My husband's from San Antonio, another big rodeo town. And he's like, I can see myself in it, but that's kind of it. With that being said, though, the acting is wonderful. The acting is actually superb. The music, the score is actually almost perfect. It's very Southern, it's very instrumental, but it's also very lyrical, depending on which part you're in. And it's actually pretty on point. It's very well scored. And the actual recording, how it was recorded, it's great. There are some really, really great moments in it, but other than the unbiased critique, I actually find this movie kind of hard to share with people who don't live this lifestyle, who weren't brought up in this lifestyle, who have never been around this lifestyle, because you won't connect with it the way that others, people who were raised in Texas, people who were raised in Oklahoma, or you won't connect with it as well. So with that being said, I don't want to say this is by far not a bad movie. It's once again, it's well filmed. The acting is superb, but it's going to be kind of hard if you do not have a connection with this movie to get into it. I'm going to be very honest. That even there's some crime elements to it, and a lot of people might find that exciting, but it's not action packed. It is a very, very, in many ways, stereotypical directorial debut. And I do mean that positively, not negatively, for a indie film. I said this with the Watchers, and I always forget her name. Shyamalan's daughter, who did the Watchers, doing all the stereotypical things your first go around is something that helps you learn, it helps you grow. So doing a lot of stereotypes, such as, you know, drug abuse and having to surpass that to get to the goals in life, that's something that's needed. You learn from those, you grow from those. So I don't want to use the word stereotype in any bad way. There is just a lot of kind of traditionally first film that you're truly making moments in this. And that's okay. But once again, you need to connect with the story before you can really see that. And I think that's kind of my review. I don't want to, once again, I don't want to say anything that it's a bad movie, because it's definitely not. I enjoyed it. It was sweet, but at the same time, it was something that I could connect with because I was raised in atmospheres like this. So if you're in the South, if you were raised with cowboys and the rodeo, and or if you are one of those fans, there are many Northerners who love the rodeo. Or if you are a rodeo fan, if you want to learn a little bit more about the modern cowboy nature, this is a good film for you. Definitely check it out. Once again, it is Ride. It hits select theaters on June 14th and is available on June 14th, and is available on demand. But for those of you who kind of aren't interested, try it. You never know, you might like it, but that first hour might be a hard push for you. With that being said, check out the movie. If you think I'm wrong, if you think I'm right, tell us. Give us some feedback right down below in the comments. And like, subscribe, share, all those normal podcasty things that you're supposed to do. Thank you guys, and we will talk to y'all soon.
You remember that one day you were playing in the yard with the boys, and that truck drove by going like 80? By the time I got my bearings, you were already on Roscoe, galloping bareback after that damn truck. I always wondered what would have happened had you actually caught him.
Am I talking to my wife right now or to the sheriff?
I'm always your wife, John. But I'm not the only cop in this town. And everything is pointing him to you. And to some creek where my son works. The world put pressure on you, John. And I put on more.